is it about nipples in public that upsets people so much these days? In a world which is exposed to wholesale violence on a daily basis through our daily news reports, why does the humble nipple in public shock us so much? In the words of Jerry Seinfeld, so what? It's a nipple, a little brown circular protuberance. What's the big deal? Everyone's got them. I've got them. Will the sight of a nipple in public send males into a masturbatory frenzy? Will it corrupt your children? Not likely. In fact, nipples have had quite a lot of time through history when they were entirely acceptable in public.
Bare-breasted women were common in Egyptian paintings and carvings from 4000 BC, as this selection shows. In the 15th century, Agnes Sorel, mistress of Charles VII, is credited with starting a fashion for fully bared breasts at court. Simonetta Vespucci, a contemporary of hers, was also painted with fully bared breasts. In the 18th century, the Princesse de Lamballe, Marie Antoinette's confidante, who also lost her life in the French Revolution, was painted with one breast fully bared. French fashion plates from the 18th century also show exposed nipples. Napoleon Bonaparte's sister Pauline was painted with a nipple clearly visible through sheer fabric in 1806.
In fact, in many European societies between the Renaissance and the 19th century, nipples in public were much more acceptable than today. At times, bare legs, bare ankles and bare shoulders were considered more risque. In the French Enlightenment, 1715 to 1789, breasts were seen as a gift from mother to child rather than a sexual enticement, or at least there was this debate going on. People were more open-minded and they wanted to think about why they had these particular moral codes about things. But in the Victorian period, 1837 to 1901, everything got closed down and women had to cover up completely. So there was no bare-breasted, there was no exposed cleavage, there were no legs, ankles, arms, nothing. But behind closed doors, they were developing all sorts of group sex parties and sexual perversions. So that makes you think, doesn't it? If you keep something away from people, it goes underground. Remember Prohibition, what happened there? Everybody was drinking bootleg liquor and then the gangsters took over. So, you know, making people not do things is not necessarily the right way. It's the same with the war on drugs at the moment. Drugs are just getting bigger and bigger. Anyway, carrying on with our history. 1913, the Roman Catholic priests in Germany issued a pastoral letter. They were outraged that women had started wearing V-neck and round cut dresses, not even showing any cleavage, but just showing a little bit here. In 1953, the Hays Code of Censorship got very upset when Jane Russell exposed some of her breasts in the bathtub. But in the 1960s, we started to see a little bit of light. Remember, the age of Aquarius started and there was dancing in the streets and everybody got a little bit more liberated for, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years before it all shut down. Elizabeth Taylor was wearing very risque dresses and there were topless dresses on the catwalk. But if you wore those dresses in public, you were arrested. So it wasn't all that liberal. But I do remember breastfeeding in public was allowed and women were freely feeding their children in public. You don't see that nowadays. You know, everybody has to rush to an uncomfortable place if they're out in public where no one can see them. Funnily enough though, in history it was often the aristocratic and upper class women who exposed their breasts and their nipples, because it was considered to be a status symbol to be able to do that. And it does beg the question, what's happening today? Now today we have lots of low-cut dresses, but really they're only for formal occasions. You don't see them in the workplace, you don't see them in the church, you don't see them out in the street, not very much anyway. And we don't see nipples bared. So could it be that our work slave bosses who want us to go to work and not get distracted and earn money for them so they can become richer and richer, don't want any distractions for the male half of their workers happening during working hours? And now all we can do is show a little bit of cleavage at night. Seems grossly unfair. That's all from me on nipples today, and bye for now.